Well, that's right. I'm supposed to start talking as soon as I hit start streaming. My bad. Live from Columbus, OH. It is the Ramsey Show After Show number. That's right. I'm supposed to start talking as 583. And of course, it is September. Do you remember the 5th day of September? I'm Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. You're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And my financial content is right below the Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch playlists in the form of the Ramsey Show After Show playlist. That's this show, 11:05 a.m. weekdays that I'm able to do it. And generally, if I can't do an after show, 11:05 a.m. due to work, I will do an 8 p.m. stream. That's not guaranteed to be one every day, but it should be one or the other most days. And also the 8 p.m. answering your financial questions streams would be happening on Saturday and Sunday. Again, I normally say I'll do it Saturday and or Sunday, and so but normally end up doing both of them. And the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in them. So take a listen to those if you are so inclined. Market report. Why are we in futures? Must have accidentally clicked futures. And apparently, did that drop that quickly? Kinda, I guess, but I think it hadn't updated yet. So as you can see, the market down. Said Wall Street rises to record highs after soft jobs data boosts something. Let's see what if I can get that, or if it's behind a paywall. Rate cut bets, so meaning the Fed will lower the rate. But maybe once a lot of people realized there were soft job numbers, then they started selling stocks or want to lock in the gains for the weekend because they're day traders. We never know about this stuff. But of course, the idea is that you don't just look at this one day or even 1 year. You don't even look at the 1 year, but look at this. In the past year, the S&P 500 has made 17.24%. So I would imagine in your managed large cap fund, you should have made at least 20% over the last year. And a year is about when you should be looking at it, because even 6 months, that's still 10%, and that's the target basically. S&P 500 makes 10 to 12% average per year, every year. And yes, it goes down sometimes, but it still averages that even after the pandy crash. Gotta go to the max view. It's crazy. I mean, you don't think about it being that far back. I don't think of it anyway, but the pandemic being more than 5 years over. So if you look at the 5 year map, it's not on there, or chart, it's not on there. So you got to go to the maximum view, and it's this right here. And look at that, it came back within 6 months. And so that's why you don't freak out if it goes down one day or even for 6 months. It doesn't matter. The only problem would be perhaps is if you retired right there at that high and then didn't need to get any money out for a month, and so then it was down when you got it. But the idea is also that you have been investing for 30 years before that, and so this little dip here doesn't take away all of the gains that you have made over 30 years so far. Let's check out the rest of the planet. Everything up on in the Europe, everything up in Asia as well, and of course, they are both ahead of U.S. time, right? I think their days are both. I know Europe is. Days start earlier. Asia, they might. I don't know where the international date line or whatever is, and so I don't know where if Asia is actually after us, but I don't think so. I would imagine coming around the globe here. So we got Europe, we know that, and then you go around the globe, and eventually somewhere in there, it ends up being later than us. Definitely California Pacific time. That's later than Eastern time, and so that would be your Pacific would be the the latest. No, that would be the earliest that it would be. I'm confusing myself now. I'm not a time expert by any stretch of the imagination. We'll get Doc Brown on that. Maybe he can explain it to you. And since it's down, maybe it. Okay, there it is. I was gonna say. But maybe since it only recently turned down, maybe the currencies have not caught up with it yet. But let's see. Yeah, US dollar down to the euro, down to the yen, down to the British pound low, up against the Canadian dollar, sorry, and down to the Australian dollar. So record highs, and then people are like, oh, and that's your whole day trading idea is that when that happens, let's go do it again. When was that? When was that article? How is that red? Oh, or does it change it? Change the whole path? I guess it changed the whole path because this dotted line here, horizontal dotted line, is yesterday's close, and so it opened up higher, and then it crashed. So after the higher open up, people were, I guess, were like immediately saying, well, we're gonna have to sell. And then when more people sell, this chart becomes, much more prominent. You can see it's like a, not quite a straight drop down, but more like a 45-degree down. But, once you get past this point, it just keeps going down for today. And so that's when people are saying, oh, I want to lock in these gains that I've made since yesterday. So, like, even up to right there, they're doing it. And then people are nutty, and then they're even doing it when it drops down below what is closed. Because, they're in a scarcity mindset, or they're retiring tomorrow and they don't want to lose any of their other gains. But you're locking in the losses by selling when it's down. And so that is definitely not advised. We had what, Broadcom and something else reporting. Can't remember what the other one was. Synopsys and Oracle reporting next week. Check the headlines. Payrolls rose 22,000 in August, less than expected in further sign of hiring slowdown. Well, if it did more than 22,000 last month, then sure. But if you're going by the preliminary announcement of what the payrolls were, that could have been wrong, and they normally revise those either up or down. So is that based on the revised number or not? At this point, we don't know. And of course, they'll have to revise this number as well. That's just the way it works. But I think it's ADP that provides that information, and that's not the government itself. So, well, let's see if it says. Non-farm, yeah. Alrighty. And refresh. Non-farm payrolls increased lower than the 75,000 forecast. Okay, that was way below the forecast, so I get you. Unemployment rate rose to 4.3%. The report showed a marked slowdown from the July increase of 79,000. All right. Which were revised up by 6,000. Revisions also showed a net loss of 13,000 in June. Yep. According to Bureau of Labor Statistics report. Okay, I've seen before where some like payroll numbers are provided by ADP. You know, not on the individual companies that use them, but just as a like a total for certain time periods. Tesla proposes the Elon Musk pay package that could make him the world's first trillionaire. Alrighty. And so when you say Tesla proposes it, does that mean Elon Musk proposes that Elon Musk get a pay package that could make him the world's first trillionaire? I don't know. Trillionaire. What up, Sid? And Tesla is up 2.58%. Is that up to date? That is up to date. So some of the things are still 1, 2, 3 out of the top 7 stocks, or the top 6 most followed on Google. So half of them are up. So that's good. And that's again why you would do manage mutual funds, because they probably have more invested in stuff that, more higher percentage of stuff that makes more money over the same amount of time, instead of having equal shares of all of them like index funds do. Mom gives birth in McDonald's parking lot and people are loving the baby's nickname. Okay. Is it McD? Americans fight back, or Mac maybe. Americans fight back against growing guilt tipping pressure as digital checkout screens. Yeah. Yeah, that happens now all the time. You get like personal trainers and stuff like that. Not, I don't have a first-hand experience with that, but they'll be working with you, and then all of a sudden I need you to look at the screen, and the screen is asking for a tip. So yeah. And you don't have to give tips if you don't want to. You don't have to. If you have to give a tip, that's not a tip that is built in. That is being charged by the restaurant, and they may give it all the tip amount to the employee for sure, or they may not, but that's on you whether you want to pay it or not. Sid says baby is on his play gym and quite unbothered. Well, that is good. That is generally the most peace for the parent for sure, when the child is unbothered by anything. Or unbothered by the market being down. Probably doesn't care about that either. Oh, it's McClara. All right. I think it's silly, but they can nickname their baby whatever they like. That much is certain. Yes, they can. They're going to pay $425 million after years of improper spying on smartphone activity. Okay, and of course this would, we all knew this already, but the first thing this makes me think of is what is proper spying on smartphone activity. by Google or anybody else. Starbucks wants its cafes to be more welcoming and accessible. Take a look at a recent renovation. All right. Not that interested in it to look. Wall Street falling in love with the corporate breakup. Here's why. Could possibly result in more money being made. Possibly. Iconic LAX sign, that would be the airport there in LA. Los Angeles is being taken down. Here's why. They're going to make something more lavish than that, maybe. The new BMW iX3 is here, and it's the most important BMW in decades. Is it really, though? Hashtag DuckDuckGo. Should no doubt referring to the companies being broken up. And let's check the NVIDIA down 3.48. Okay. Like most of it is. Anything exciting up? 6.16, that would be open door. I don't know what they do. Let's see what they do. I don't think that's the one I wanted to click on. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. That is not what I wanted to click on. I wanted to get the... Actually, the company listing there, and so you can see that being up 6.68% at the moment, withstanding the downturn there. Or maybe it's all coming back. This is what I'm looking for. Open Door Technologies is an online company that buys, trying to see past the glare of my webcam ring light, and sells residential real estate. Okay. Open door. Real estate generally has doors on it. I get it. And let's check one more time just in case the market has fully recovered. It has not. Okay, it is less down now than it was though, so maybe it'll be good by the end of the day. I do still miss seeing the end of day numbers on the after shows when they were in the afternoon, when the Ramsey show was in the afternoon, and then I did the after show after it, hence it being called the after show. Let's do some questions. Aslan said, get a de-Googled mobile and you do not need to worry about the spying. If you're installing anybody's app on it, they might be able to be spying on you. Did that one, let's see. Oh, the long-term perspective one. CVV 17001. Advice on which route would be good for long-term perspective. Recently bought or started a condo where I followed approximately 25 to 27. I did this one already. 2 student loans. That's from Neat Air 4571. 2 student loans. Hi, I'm 32, female, and I've made some poor financial choices in the past. We all have. Mainly I have 2 student loans. One is $80,000. Oh, euros, excuse me. In the Netherlands. I have no idea what a Netherlands accent would sound like. With an interest rate of 1.66, and I have 42,000 euro one in the UK, the bloody UK, studying both countries, so you definitely want to spread your debt over 2 countries as well. Now my situation is quite uncommon for European standards, as having a student loan and even such high ones, or even 2 at that is unheard of. I don't think the loans are unheard of. Worrying about it, being concerned about it is unheard of because, you know, in the UK, they have a thing where you pay. I mean, if you're not a citizen, though, of the UK, that may not apply to you. Hence the loans, and hence you having to pay them back, and hence you worrying about it. But generally, in the UK, I believe that you have the option to not pay them back, to just pay minimums for 30 years on them, and run out the clock on them, and eventually they get forgiven, which is nutty. Let's see. Anyways, so I'm glad I'm glad the Netherlands picked up. Anyways, I mean, and who knows? This could be an American. Who knows? That went to both countries to study abroad, could be. But definitely knows anyways. Anyways, I had to study, again, the S would not be necessary in case you're wondering. What's the problem with that, Steve? Got a problem with something else that somebody types? Yes, a lot. I had to study a bit longer due to personal circumstances, and I wasn't always able to work beside my studies. Besides, there's really, let me borrow the S on anyways and put it on the S right there, or put it on beside, so it would be besides my studies. Now I finally work as a psychologist in my own country. Which one is that? Netherlands? Didn't say. It's going to take me a few years and some training to become a decently earning psychologist. But until then, I don't have that much to start. Paying off my student loans. You have to get those paid off in 3 years is the advice. But I mean, if you don't have a car to sell, or like, you know, other things you bought with other debt that you can sell, or a house that you can sell, not much you can do about that, probably. I earn around $2,500 after tax, which is ridiculously low in a month. And again, it depends on what part of the UK, probably. But of course, you're going to get taxes. I mean, where are you at now? Netherlands or the UK? To keep my costs down and start paying off my student loan, I have moved back home. Well, if you had moved out wherever you were living then, that was your home. You moved back into your parents' house. I think the smart move would be to start paying off my British student loan, as that has the highest interest rate of 7%. And it doesn't sound like you want to do the Ramsey advice anyway, but the Ramsey advice is the debt snowball, which means smallest to largest amount. So it's not, you don't do it by highest interest rate. You would do it by lowest amount owed, so you get that thing completely gone earlier. Sometimes I wonder, ooh, and it makes me wonder whether I should pivot so I can earn more and pay off the loans more aggressively. I'm starting to feel a bit hopeless. What you do in my situation? Curious to hear your thoughts. Well, so you want to be a psychologist, and it takes a lot of study, apparently. You're the one that has to live this life, and so the Ramsey advice would be to not pursue that via debt. So you would stop any type of debt activity to make that happen, and you make that happen with cash instead. But as far as the, moving back home, that will theoretically allow you to save money, so that you could pay for more schooling, instead of paying extra on the student loans. You would, if you insist on going to school, the idea would be that you cash flow it, instead of paying off this loan and then taking out another one. There's no need to do that at all. As I said, I think people in Europe can still work a second job, so maybe that's an option. The UK loan is the highest rate, so it is okay for her to pay it off first. It's not done by highest percentage rate of interest rate. It's smallest to largest amount of debt owed is what the Ramsey advice is. Aslan, you know that. Dave's opinion on acorns investing. Yeah, this is like the kind of thing that doesn't matter just because I know it's been around a long time now, so it's not like a new kid on the block as far as investing is concerned, but this is like one of those fad things that pops up and then enough people use it where they still stay in business and they might be making a lot of money. And it certainly appeals to people that would be not putting all their money towards the baby steps, baby step 1, 2, and while on 1, 2, and 3, and they want to start investing too. They say, "Oh, okay, I'll invest my pennies while I'm doing that." And so that's the idea. There's like little acorn amounts that you plant was the idea, and that's why they named it there. So, but it's not gonna like replace a long opened brokerage for Dave. I don't think Dave is gonna say, yeah, using acorns for all of your investing, which you may be able to do. You may be able to buy any, invest any amount and buy any mutual fund. And if so, then it's probably not a problem. But especially when it first came out, it was just a fad at the time because it just came out, and then a lot of people said, "Oh, okay, you got to do acorns." You didn't have to. You can invest in very low amounts. You can invest in pennies on any brokerage. You can't buy a penny's worth of every single mutual fund. Those rules differ. Just a broker option is fine if you use it intentionally. Yeah. Oh, as I meant the lowest amount. I figured she knew the advice. She knows what she's doing. Like if people have called in and mentioned it or anything, they have. People love to say their brokerage and their particular mutual fund that they picked and they're proud of, even if it's just the S&P 500 index fund. Normally, like the biggest one that gets mentioned is VOO, which is Vanguard, which is why it starts with a V, but VOO, that's the ticker symbol for Vanguard's S&P 500 index account. And of course, that's not Dave Ramsey's. I almost said Rave Ramsey. That's not Dave Ramsey's advice. It is for retirement investing to manage mutual funds that beat the freaking indexes. Dave says when you invest nickels, you get a lot of nickels. Right. And like I said, the idea behind that is fine generally, but you wouldn't be doing any investing, not even 1 cent of investing while you're on baby step 1, 2, and 3. These are not all done at the same time. In fact, one at a time for steps 1, 2, and 3, and only after you get past 3, and then 3B is save the down payment. So you may not be anywhere near investing, and so at that point you don't even think about any acorns and even investing nickels or other small amounts. You don't do that. You apply all your extra money to whatever baby step you're on, 1, 2, or 3. Here for the invitation. Rehab set me back and over my head. I'm out of my head when you're not around. Oh, oh, oh. That song's from the 1900s, kids. Hi, everyone. Hi, guys. I'm in a really tough spot and could use guidance on local resources. I'm 150 days sober. Excellent. After 3 months in rehab earlier this year, which was needed. However, it set me back financially. Because you can't work while you're doing rehab, probably. I'm in New Hampshire, and my girls are elementary age. I've been working part-time this summer as a barista, and I start a regular job next week. Kids are back in school. Before admitting myself to rehab, I had a great job working full-time in a medical office as a scheduler. Right now, all of my checking and savings accounts are in the negative. My phone has already been turned off. The electric and Wi-Fi will be shut off on Tuesday, and EBT doesn't reload until the 5th. That is today. I'm also 3 car payments. Yeah, you would be getting, you'd be doing baby step 0 first. You would be getting current as soon as you can. You could call all of these people and tell them that you are starting a job, which you have already now been started, right? When did you say that? I started a regular job next week. This was 5 days ago, so maybe not yet then. Maybe Monday, don't know. But you would tell them I'm starting a new job Monday, and so I will get current as soon as I possibly can. So you can let them know what's up. 3 car payments behind with canceled auto insurance due to non-payment. Yeah, that one, that is rough to get ahead, back current with that, and get the insurance back. And probably the insurance will be more than that. So that really does suck that that happened. But you know, if you got to go to rehab and can't work, stuff like this is going to happen, but you just have to do the best you can with it. I'm down to my last $5 in quarters. I don't know where to start. Well, again, that would be start on baby step 0. You can't really do anything without the income. The income is what makes your financial situation better because you're using it intentionally on the baby steps. And so, as far as the car payments, especially that doesn't have insurance on it right now, you shouldn't be driving it anyway. But you could see about selling the car payment. The car, you would have to you would still owe the 3 payments in addition to whatever. Well, I guess it would still show whatever is left on it without the 3 payments being applied, since you never applied them. But you would have to probably come up with any amount that is underwater on it. If it's not underwater, then you can sell it, and you give all that money use it to pay off the car. Thankfully, my rent is covered by the girl's dad in lieu of child support at $1,400 per month. If anyone knows emergency programs or short-term assistance for utilities or tips navigating resources quickly, I'd be so grateful. Utilities, I believe, right, Sid? They generally have things like that where you would where you can call and they can give you a break or something like that, and not shut off you can explain the situation and set that up. Right, Sid? I think most of them have that happen, and I don't know why, bias or something, but I assume this was a gentleman the entire time, but it's not. But yeah, any other emergency programs, short-term assistance, I have no idea. You'd have to, if you're in a church, you can check see if the church has anything going on there, and you check with your city or county to see if they have any type of short-term assistance or emergency programs for you. Sid says yes for the power, definitely. Internet, maybe not. Agreed. Everybody agrees. That song, not from the 1900s. That's newer than the 1900s. That's from within the last 5 years even. So be proud of me. Born at 1792. 31-year-old multimillionaire, retire now or work harder. I would probably be doing some kind of work because I would probably just be bored. I mean, I guess multimillionaire, I guess you could spend a lot of time vacationing and that would give you something to do to keep you from being bored, but you may get bored even by doing that. Let's see, my family were immigrants and started with nothing. I started working at age 17, lived frugally, invested nothing crazy, no NVIDIA or Bitcoin. Okay, well, NVIDIA is not crazy. Bitcoin is not advised by Mr. Ramsey, but NVIDIA is not crazy, but you wouldn't have single stocks per Mr. Ramsey. You would have it in your managed mutual fund, your large cap managed mutual fund. You would have probably a lot of NVIDIA in that. In the past few years, my net worth has ballooned. I just turned 31, and my net worth passed the $2 million mark. My career is starting to take off, and I'm not sure if I should take a step back or gas on the pedal. Foot on the pedal would be the saying, but family is immigrants, so maybe English not fabulous. I don't even know how to spend the $2 million that I have. Okay, so when your net worth passes $2 million, your first thought should not be, how do I spend the $2 million that I have? That's dumb as crap. Now, if you are wondering how to spend the $2 million over the course of the rest of your life, then that's a different thing. That's more reasonable. But if you're just trying to spend a whole bunch of it now, that's dumb as crap. Certainly spend some of it. Theoretically, you would be in step 4. You shouldn't have any non-mortgage debt. If you're debt leveraging at all, you fix all that right now. Edit, thanks for feedback. I'm planning to cut my 5-day work week to 4 days within a year. Okay, some employers won't let you do that. Maybe it's your own business and you could let yourself do that. Then eventually 3 days, depending on how my financial journey goes. I still have a mortgage to pay off, so that should be your priority. So that would be your priority. So if theoretically still investing and paying off the mortgage. Didn't say anything about children, but kid college too. If that would apply. So, but that's how you spend. If you're looking to spend money right now, guess where that goes, my friend? That goes to baby step 6, pay off your home early. You do not invest more by debt leveraging the house or debt leveraging mortgage specifically. So you do that, and then you'll be on step 7, and then you'll be in a much better place to retire early and also work fewer hours, whatever you want to do. The only way, with having a $2 million net worth, the only way you screw it up is by spending too much money, and that includes if you bought too much house already. Or if you were at 1 million net worth, and so then that you thought that meant you had a lot of money, but you still had a lot of debt on stuff, and then you bought too much house on top of that. So the idea would be to have no debt, including the house, once you get to step 6. Hopefully you're already on that step. He can donate to Sid's baby step 5 if he needs something to do. He can. Okay, and just let me know, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and I can take that money and I can forward it to Sid for you. I will be more than happy to do that. Sarah here now. Should I move abroad? This username has posted quite a few times. And why do we want to do that? Thank you for keeping it to one paragraph that fits on the main page. I work as a contractor in the UK, but I'm struggling to find permanent or contractual work, and I'm starting to use my emergency fund. I've seen a job in a British overseas territory, which would be perfect for me, but I'm so worried about applying because I have a 4-year-old. She just got into an excellent school, and her friends are going. My ex would, and her friends are going, period, I guess, to that excellent school. You know, a 4-year-old and friends, are they really friends, or they just happen to be there at the same time? Are going, okay, and period then. And my ex would never agree to let her come with me. I need to either get his permission or take him to court, which I cannot afford. Okay, so it sounds like it's not going to happen. So you only need to put time and effort into trying to figure out if you should move abroad, if it's even possible that it could even happen. So maybe work on that part first if you really want to. Or if, I mean, I guess he would take custody of the child. If I do get this job, I will be debt-free in 2 years and be able to cover bills, but I'll only be able to see my daughter every other month. Should I go for it? A 4-year-old. Now, it was difficult enough leaving my children when they were 19 and 27. You know, of course, neither of them were living with me at the time, but still, it was pretty difficult at 4. I mean, that, I don't know, I couldn't do it. And I'm having a hard time imagining a mom, especially, being able to do that. But, I mean, you know, you have to do what you feel is right, I suppose. But just because you saw the job in a British overseas territory in some ad doesn't mean everything would work out for you, or you would even be hired for it. But there's not even any need to apply until you see if you actually can go. So I understand when you have money issues, or even really if you don't, if you're struggling to find permanent or contractual work, and your working is hit or miss, I understand that's going to negatively affect your finances, and you would like to improve your finances, but going to a different country isn't always the answer. Probably most times it's not the answer. So look for other jobs there, maybe in a different field. Maybe even 2 part-time jobs. I don't know. That's not going to be great for benefits, but you also don't have, if you don't have a permanent or contractual work, a job, you probably aren't getting the benefits anyway. Also, godparent spot still available as well for baby Sid. Sid Jr. is not the baby's name. Middle Nebula 8320. Starting baby step 2. Any tips for staying motivated? Go back to where you, when you decided to start the baby steps at all. Go back to why you did that. Is that still valid? Is that reason still valid? Then that should motivate you. You know, and you did theoretically finish baby step 0, or at least parts of it. Theoretically budgeting already, for example, not adding to debt. Got the 4 walls in place, and there's many other things that are part of baby step 0. But then starting baby step 2, that also assumes you got the 1,000 emergency fund, which it says right there. And so you've gotten through the first 2 steps of it, even though step 0 is not on the official list. There are things that you should do even before you start step 1. So those are all lumped into baby step 0. Just finished baby step 1 and saved my $1,000 emergency fund. Great. Now I'm into tackling debt with the snowball method. For those of you who have gone through baby step 2, what kept you motivated when the balances felt overwhelming? Well, some people think saving $1,000 is impossible. So it's not overwhelming. It just may take a long time. And how you combat time is you sacrifice more than normal people have to. More than the average baby stepper does. You sacrifice more and spend less money on things. Spend money on only what's absolutely 100% necessary to live, and you can put all that money to debt, and then you can get it paid off the fastest. So, but I would go back to why you even know who Dave Ramsey is, how you came across Dave Ramsey. If it's because you Googled how to pay off debt, apparently you wanted to pay off debt, and that's what the baby step 2 is. So, and just starting it and wondering how to stay motivated, I mean, is that good because it gets ahead of the problem and you're already thinking about it? Or is that bad because you're already thinking about not being motivated and about being overwhelmed about how much it is, even though you already proved you could do step 1, so why can't you do step 2? You can, and people can, everybody can do it. You know, as long as you have a job, you have to have a job, you have to have income to make the baby steps work. But I lost my train of thought. Brilliant Mechanic 84. I'm a loser, baby. So why? Well, never mind. That's definitely from the 1900s. I do not know where else to post this, and I feel pretty lost. Like the ship that used to tide me over. I am 36 years old. That one also from the 1900s. Single, and I make about $114,000 a year in Southern California. So it says free. Oh. Aslan said, have suggestions. Do you like feeling broke and worrying about someone stopping by to take your stuff or kick you out of your home? If that is not enough motivation, then I cannot help you. That's right. That's right. You know, some people don't, and of course I'm the worst person to point this out, but some people don't respond to that kind of motivation or that kind of honesty and that much realism of the situation in what you're telling them. And they want, you know, everything to be rainbows and unicorns. And then they might be motivated better for that, but you know, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for you need everything to be, because everything's not rainbows. You're on step 2. Not going to be fun. So it says, nerds crunch the numbers every day to see a new projection. Yeah, that does happen. Not necessarily advised either, because that's not going to change much from day to day. And so that might demotivate you. Free spirits might do well with a visual reminder / tracker, like a coloring sheet or a paper garland. Yep. Like any kind of thing, you know, you can put it on the fridge and it just shows shows the progress, and you can make that in any form you like. Make it something you like. Like if you like Star Wars, make a Star Wars character, and just have different sections of the body that you fill in as you pay off debt, or start at the feet and go up to the head. I do not know. Oh, Southern California. We said that. I have $66,000 in student loans, and yeah, 114,000. Not bad. In California, though, that's way worser. It's like maybe what 75,000 or less than if you were making that in the Midwest. $66,000 in student loans. I have $12,000 in a car loan. That's easy. You sell the car and buy a beater. Fixed it. I have $20K in credit card debt. I have $55,000 in a retirement fund and $47,000 in a pension. If what you're calling a retirement fund is just in a brokerage account or some other investing situation where it's not in an actual tax advantage retirement account, then you could take money out of that to pay it off. Otherwise, the pension and the retirement account do not get tapped. So those would stay there. So guess what? Some people have the same amount of debt you do and don't have any retirement at all. So you're at least better off than they are, if you want to look at the bright side of it. I'm at the point where I wake up every day in a panic and don't want to live anymore. Well, if this is hyperbole and you're just being emo a little bit, get over yourself, get over it. If this is actually true and is actually something that you constantly think about and does happen every day, then you need counseling, my friend. I have put all my focus into paying off the car loan first. You should sell it. It was $17,000 a few months ago, while contributing $500 monthly to my retirement. Yeah. So on the baby steps, retirement investing is step 4. Again, you do not undo anything in retirement accounts to make yourself on the baby steps, but you do undo dumb crap you bought, like that much car payment. You would sell the car and buy a very, very, very cheap car, cheap as you can get, that still runs. Just have a mechanic check it out. Where are we? So yeah, we don't do retirement in step 2. You're on step 2, my friend. I can't emphasize enough how much of a loser I am for being in this situation at all at 36. Okay, well, at 36, I did not have that much in retirement. I also didn't have any debt by that time, though. I think it might have been right around there when we got done with debt. But I didn't have any in retirement. I see people my age with homes and savings, and I'm filled with envy and terrible thoughts. Again, okay, if it's hyperbole, if you're exaggerating and being emo and don't actually mean any of this bad stuff, again, get over it. If it actually is a problem, then you need counseling before you do something bad. But for someone, if the advice other than get over it would be to follow the baby steps, and you can get rid of $12,000 in debt by selling that car and buying a beater. Double succotash. 2542. Do you need a double serving of succotash? Probably not. A bigger shovel. Dave often says that people need a bigger shovel. That's correct. I always laughed at that because if people could go make more money that easily, they would, right? No, no. A million times no, no. You're giving people too much credit. People are not like that. They don't consider something like that. Not usually. Um, they're like, people just have the mindset of, oh, I'm working 40 hours, maybe even a couple overtime hours on top of that. So I'm done with that. So let's see, what can I do? Oh, yes, you can work more. And working should be most of the stuff you're doing, and you can cancel your subscriptions, etc., because you should be out working instead of watching a movie, for example. We can get caught up on movies in baby step 4. Well, last month I started a new job which nearly doubled my salary, doubling it. I went from making 75,000 to 142. That is nearly double. You have done the math correctly on that. You have expertly described the situation there. I have that part anyway. I have the potential of doubling my previous salary with my new annual bonus. I applied on somewhat of a whim, not expecting to even get an interview. When I got the call with the offer, it was $15,000 more than what I had initially asked for. I was shocked. When I got my final paycheck from my old job on Friday, my vacation payout was nearly $9,000. I worked in state government, had a substantial vacation accrued. Okay, job may not have even been necessary, so I'm glad you're not working there anymore. A lot of other people needed me not working there anymore. Where are we at? That made a nice debt payment, I bet. With my new salary and trying to cash flow my portion of my son's college, I should be debt-free by March and have my fully funded emergency fund by August. I'm recovering from a finalized divorce last summer, and this was the financial help I needed to gain some traction and reach my goals. It was the confidence boost I didn't know I needed. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the advice. Work more, spend less is how you get the baby steps done, because they do require income to make it happen. Don't underestimate your value, know your skills, know your strengths, and put yourself out there for those growth opportunities, which may be stretch positions. Good luck to all of you on your financial and personal journeys. Okay, but yeah, you're still, you may not realize it, and you're thinking with your brain. The problem is everybody doesn't have your brain. You're doing it correctly. You're taking the Ramsey advice and actually really, really intense about it, it would seem. And so, but a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people, again, are like I have a full-time job. It says full-time right in the name. That's full-time. I can't do anything else other than that. When I'm not at my full-time job, I need to be sleeping or doing something fun or watching, subscriptions that I pay for, etc., etc. And it never occurs to people that they can get another job instead of just sitting around the house doing nothing, that kind of thing, and not bringing in extra money. Yeah, doesn't occur to them, or they don't want to is a big one as well. So, but yeah, you just can't assume that. I mean, I wouldn't even assume that. Gosh, I'd feel safe with saying 50% of people that start the Ramsey baby steps there. I would say 50% aren't intense, gazelle intense enough about it to actually get another job, even though they could, and in some cases probably should. I like, as I like to update everything every day, but mostly that is to see the chart update, mostly. First, he's not a loser, he's in good occupation, is one where you can work extra hours easily. He has retirement and the debt is not terrible. He just needs to follow the baby steps. He would be, yeah. And so hopefully he's fine and he's just catastrophizing it, being too emo about it. Hopefully. But if not, counseling. Out of debt in 2 years. Yeah. Sid said, how fortunate for them. I don't know if she's talking about the person that would be out of debt in 2 years or what. Did I? Oh, yeah, that made a substantial debt payment. Yep. Read it. So, yep, you did it correctly. Finn Wicks, where's your. But expecting anybody else to do it is a stretch. You just be, some people will, of course, and so, but you just have to be pleasantly surprised when they do and assume that everybody else won't is your safer bet. Where's your emergency fund? Ours is just in our regular bank account. APY 3.5%, but should maybe be somewhere else. Baby step 3. Now, this apparently is fine with the Ramsey folks. They say you can put it in a high yield savings account. But my advice is that you need to keep your emergency fund liquid right where you can get at it, like through an ATM or something like that. Instead of having a 1 to 3 day transfer, because emergencies don't wait for 1 to 3 day transfers. And what happens all too often, what if the person with the emergency, and that is, to take it to the extreme, the husband is in a coma and he's the only one that knows the high yield savings account information. And maybe even worse, he's the only one on it for some dumb reason, because of course the wife should be on it as well, so that she could access it. Bigger shovel guy. Oh yeah, some of us have been looking for a new job for 4 years. Gotcha, Sid. The alcoholic Molotov. Getting back on my feet after crisis mode. Oh my goodness, time flies. 12:08 already. Over an hour already. It seems like we just got started. Getting back on my feet after crisis mode. Feeling defeated. Okay. Another emo here. Let's see. I feel like for me right now, it is one thing after another. Well, yes, that's how things happen. Now, if it's bad luck things, you would think law of averages, you think eventually that would stop. But some people do have a string of bad luck. Lost my job earlier this year, was able to get part-time work while I was accepted into a free continuing education program. Yes, free school, and that's great, but sometimes instead of going automatically, oh, I need to get more education, I can get a better job, you need to instead be working more instead of doing that. But maybe you can work full-time and do that as well, so keep looking so you can get more work other than your part-time job. Oh, now I landed a full-time job while balancing night school to finish out the year. Great. Perfect. My advice exactly. So what's the problem? What do we need to complain about? Baby step 3 has only $2,000 left. Yes, I have my $1,000 emergency fund. However, I'm consolidating the two for a baby step 1 emergency fund of $3,000. That is not the advice. You save $1,000 and that's it. You're doing it wrong. You're doing baby step 3 before you finish step 2, and that is a no on that. So you're doing your own thing. So we established that. And doing your own thing means that you're not following the advice, this advice of these baby steps, $20 million documented success stories captured by Mr. Ramsey in the past 30 years. But when you start changing stuff, there's no data on that as far as how successful that is. My pal Sid, of course, says if you need $2,000 to feel more comfortable, and if that will keep you on the rest of the steps, that's fine. And I understand that from a degree, but I would add, if $2,000 is fine for baby step one, if you're going to get on the steps and not change anything else on any of the other steps. But see, you give people, and this is again how you need to expect the worst of people, because a lot of people are the worst. And so you give an inch on this stuff, and you say, oh, well, you can go over the $1,000. And then they're going to want to change every baby step and do it all wrong. And that's going to make their financial journey to step 7 take longer. And that is not the plan. Let's see. I had my paid off car break down 3 times. From that, I am $2,000 in the hole. Well, you're doing it wrong. Baby step 0, probably skipped it. Part of that is where you decide you're going to pay off your dumbass debt, and you're not going to take out any more dumbass debt ever again. So what you would do is you would use the emergency fund amount for this car breakdown emergency. I would consider that an emergency if it's something that is required to make the car run safely. I had to remove a tree on my property as it was interfering with the power lines. Some people don't have property, my friend. And was mandated to do so to avoid power loss, damage to home, etc. $1,000 for that. Okay. Hey man, that's the type of thing you got to deal with when you have property. My cat has a non-urgent health issue that needs an appointment. Estimation pending. If it's not urgent, then you're putting it off as long as you can put it off. Only debt before all of this is my mortgage. No, it's not. That's not. Oh, okay. No, it's still not, because if you're in the hole this $2,000, do you mean just it cost $2,000 for all this and that's already paid off out of your emergency fund or cash flowed? But you just mean you can't put that to the baby steps because you had to put it to your car? See, people are nutty. They phrase things whatever way they want to, and it makes sense to them, of course. Where were we? Mortgage. I bought a house pre-marriage to have a premarital asset. There's no law that says you have to have a premarital asset. Stop being dumb. Stop making up stuff. Fiance's name is not on the deed for many legal reasons. Should not be married with fiance either. But again, if you're doing your plan, knock yourself out, then you can't use the baby step 2 flare because you're not on it. You're doing whatever the heck you want to do. We also bought a house. Here it says I, and here it says we. Which one is it? Because the rental market was so outrageous, there's your justification station right there. The rents were too high. It was cheaper to buy a house. That we are actually saving money. Saving money even after taxes went up. It says event there. By $800. Before we were spending collectively $3,600. Now it is down to $2,600. Yeah, because you're living together, which you're not supposed to do according to Ramsey advice. Edit warning. If I sound loom, gloom, and doom, I don't think loom is a thing. Maybe just I've heard gloom and doom by themselves. I am overwhelmed. Well, you're doing it wrong. And so being overwhelmed is understandable. If you had not done it wrong, you would be in a better financial position. A lot is happening all at once, and this all happened in the span of 2 weeks. Okay, I mean that's excessive for 3 different car breakdowns. I'm gonna go ahead and call BS on that. That all 3 of those happened at the same time, and you're just catastrophizing. You're just being emo, feeling sorry for yourself. All this stuff is normal human emotions, for sure. But you got to put those away and accept the reality, is what you got to do here in this situation. And so the advice as written, the baby steps as written, is what has the 20 million documented success stories. You changing stuff, nobody can tell what is going to happen. And of course, even before you started the baby steps, you did wrong things by buying this house. And so depending on all the other numbers involved, you might have to sell the house. The advice might be for you to sell the house, but it would depend on the numbers. Since it's that much cheaper than rent, it possibly would have also been cheaper if you moved into a rented place together. If you weren't living before in a rented place, that may also account for some of the savings there. So little sus there. That's what I'm suspecting is the case. But again, it would depend on a bunch of other numbers whether you should sell that house. But you definitely were not, with any non-mortgage debt and no full emergency fund, you definitely should have never bought the house. And especially if it's one of those, subprime deals, FHA, or anything where the government helps you buy a house, probably not a good idea. Let's see what is up on either tomorrow, Saturday, or Sunday, or both. Will be an 8 p.m. stream answering your financial questions. Ba, 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 bum. Sid did finish the MBA. Yep. In March. Congratulations again on that, Sid. Should help with a job search. Can't look outside till next March, but my plan is networking when I get back. She means outside her current job. I bet this asker is a male in those red pill adjacent spaces. Yeah. Because they bought a house just to have a premarital asset. That's fair. That's fair to assume that. As I said, buying a home to have a premarital asset sounds like something you do if you are thinking of getting out of the marriage before you begin. Could be. So what do we got? What will we be talking about tomorrow or Sunday? Lost grieving and need advice. Alrighty. If you are in any position to do so, probably you still have to go to work. But the higher up on the baby steps you are, the less stressful everything else will be. I'm assuming it's grieving a loved one. It could be grieving something else, a job or something like that. But assuming it's grieving a loved one, the Ramsey advice is, for if at all possible, you just chill for a year and don't make any major decisions. Maybe you still go to work full time, but you don't make any major decisions with money, such as he gets a lot of calls from people that have gotten a death benefit because someone close to them passed. And with stuff like that, you would, in most situations, you would think, yeah, I guess you can't assume that, though. You might need the money immediately. But and that is again why you should get have a will, and of course get life insurance, term life insurance, none of that whole life crap. Um, that is in the amount of 10 to 12 times of your annual income. And if you just take all that money and put it in the market, at minimum, a SP 500 index fund, but managed mutual funds, of course, can make more. But then that replaces the husbands or wives or whoever their income, if you are dependent on their income. And so that would be the reason. But if it was something like if it's less of a urgent thing, like you got plenty of money already working yourself, and it's just like a lot of money or something like that to figure out what to do with, Dave is fine with that sitting in a high yield savings account for a year while you grieve and don't have to worry about what to do with that money. Just let it grow that little bit, 4% or whatever. And then when you feel better about life and stuff, you can move on to those decisions. Every dollar alternative for international listeners. I think you need a budget. Might be available in other countries. The thing that most people might be interested in is whether the app will connect to their bank. So you may have to check in on that first before picking an app. I guess you can try any of them out and see. Lay once. What should I do? Both teachers. What's the problem? Wanted to see. We can sell it. No step will be paid off. Considering doing a consolidation loan. Nope, Mr. Ramsey calls them a consolidation loan. So that's going to be a no. I don't want to work with my girlfriend and join finances. You don't. You don't live with girlfriend either and join finances. That happens after you get married. Is our emergency fund too fat? If it's more than 3 to 6 months of expenses, then yes, it is. And paid off my house. Excellent. So we'll get into all that either tomorrow night at 8 p.m. or that's Saturday, September 6th, or Sunday, September 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you are having money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can. I feel like saying, like the Ghostbusters ad, don't wait another minute. Operators are standing by. You can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com. You can also use that email address for any questions about anything on my YouTube channel or anything about finances or coaching. Donations, paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, $Coach Steve Money on CashApp, or that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, for an Amazon gift card. And the upcoming streams, as I said, and I did not update this, so it has the older ones on it. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Yeah, just finished those. I did not do yesterday's after show because I got like 2 hours of sleep overnight, so I just slept in instead. And the next one will be on Wednesday. So next week I don't have many scheduled after shows, just one. But 8 p.m. streams will be this coming Saturday or Sunday. So, yep, 6th and 7th. And then Thursday, September 11th. Wow, so that's a lot of... That sounds like I'm scheduled for a lot of mid-shifts. That means like where I wouldn't be done with the after show in time to finish up and then get to work on time. And then also I wouldn't be home before 8 o'clock. So a lot of mid shifts, that kind of thing. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and also we'll be doing approximately in between 9 and 9:30 tonight. We'll be doing more of The Last of Us Part 2, the chronological version that they recently added that option to do that in a recent patch. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day. Thanks for watching, Aslan. Appreciate it muchly.